Happy New Year, my friend. 5 bold predictions for 2025. Okay? I'll start us off here. My first one, Jokic loses the MVP. It's not super
Ooh.
bold, but again, and I've said this, I get killed for it. I'm going to say it again. I think it's just bad for business. If we're concerned about game and viewership and storylines, giving the MVP to the guy you keep giving the MVP to, whose team, frankly, I don't believe is a true title contender at this juncture, I don't think is good. Right now, honestly, if I had to pick who the MVP of the league is, it's probably going to be Giannis. That's just how it feels to me. But SGA, Tatum, and Luka are all right there as well. I don't think Jokic gets the MVP this year. I think the league takes it in a different direction.
Interesting. Okay. My number one bold prediction for the 2025 calendar year in the NBA. The 2025 NBA draft class is the opposite of the 2024 NBA draft class, and it is dynamite. It is loaded. Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, Kasparis Yakachionis for Illinois. So many excellent players in this class. There are probably like 6 or 7 guys in 2025 who would have gone first overall in 2024. I think a lot of teams that tank are probably going to be pretty happy with what they ended up getting. Imagine like if Cooper Flag ends up being as good as everyone thinks he could be, and you're the Atlanta Hawks, and you get the 1 year in between, the mixture of Kevin Garnett, Jason Tatum that is Cooper Flag, and Victor fucking Wembanyama, and you end up getting Zachary Risache. Like, oh man. Unfortunately, the balls just didn't bounce the way we wanted to, and we got the average number 1 overall. We got the Andrew Bogut caliber number 1 overall pick in between the future 6-time MVP and future 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Tough. Them's the breaks, unfortunately.
Dark. I'm going to piggyback off that. My second bold prediction: Cooper Flag will go number 1, and he's going to struggle out of the gate in the NBA. I think what I'm seeing from Flag, and our friend Patty saw him play against George Mason like in person. He's a really physical player. I think so much of his game is actually predicated on his physicality. He's big, he's athletic, he gets on the floor, he hustles. I think guys like that can dominate the college game, but when physicality is the key, you're going to the NBA where everybody gets to the NBA because of some level of physicality. So I do think Cooper Flag is going to struggle out of the gate. I'm not saying he won't be a good player. I think he'll be a good player. But the press that Flag gets is not up at Wemby, but it's a lot of press. I think he'll go number 1. I just think he will be a good basketball player, folks. I just think he's going to struggle a little bit harder than people are anticipating out of the gate. I just do. Because again, being so physical in the college game does not always translate to the NBA game, especially because there are guys in the NBA who can't dribble or shoot. They're only physical. So I do think Flag is going to go through some growing pains. He'll figure it out. I just don't think he's going to be a plug-and-play player that everyone seems to be thinking he'll be from the jump.
Yeah, there are those concerns. He is a very physical player. He's got like very impressive, like his shoulders are so broad, very like huge, big, broad shoulders. Like he's very physical, but you also have to remember he reclassified. So he just turned 18.
He just turned 18. He can finally vote. Congrats.
Cooper Flag, who did you vote for?
Who would you have voted for, sir?
But I think that's all fair. The shooting numbers have been pretty disappointing. He hasn't shot the ball very well.
He's not smooth, Henry. He's not like a smooth player. Like a lot of these guys that are smooth,
offensively,
have the handle, have the
offensively,
touch.
He's kind of clunky. Dylan Harper at Rutgers, now he is smooth. He's
very smooth.
He's very James Harden-esque. Dylan Harper's awesome. I love Dylan Harper.
He could go number 1. He could go number 1. That's why Flag going 1 and struggling is bold, because Flag might not even go number 1. It might be Harper.
If anyone is going to beat out Flag for the number 1 pick, it will be Harper. All right, my number 2 bold prediction for 2025, both the Sacramento Kings and the Miami Heat blow it up. Jimmy Butler ends up getting traded. Maybe Bam Adebayo even ends up getting traded. He's been terrible this year. Fox gets traded. Maybe Sabonis gets traded. I've seen Kings fans on the timeline talking about how much they hate Mike Brown for not playing Keon Ellis. The Kings are currently out of the play-in the Western Conference. They are struggling. As I was talking about the Lakers defense, maybe that's more telling about the struggles that the Kings offense is facing. He's scoring 199 points against the Lakers, but I think both teams blow it up. They had outside hopes at being a championship team coming into the year, those hopes are dead. Like they're not a championship team.
Yep. Next one, number 3 for me. This is a twofold one. LeBron James will announce this is his final year of basketball later in 2025. But because of that, the NBA will hold off on any expansion team announcement this year. So there will not be expansion team announcement this year because LeBron is going to say, this is my last year. LeBron will play that out. He'll retire in 26. And then expansion team talk will be announced early in 26. LeBron becoming a minority or majority owner of the Vegas team or whatever. So I'm predicting LeBron will announce in this year that he will be retiring end of 26. So he'll get, there's this year and then one more year and he's out. And the NBA won't announce the expansion team this year because of that. They're going to wait till LeBron is firmly out of the league. Then he'll take up the ownership and we'll ride.
I don't want to think about LeBron retiring, man.
I'm sorry.
So sad.
I'm sorry. It's layered though, folks. It's not just who's going to retire. There's layers to this thing.
Okay. Number 3 for me. At this point in 2025, end of 2025, Victor Wembanyama will be the MVP frontrunner. I think he will win the 2025 to 2026 NBA MVP. He very well might end up being first team All NBA this year. If the Spurs can become a 50-win team, he will be top 5. No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh man, that's not even that bold. I thought you were going to be like, "Oh, that's insane. Wemby's not that good."
No, the league wants it goes to my Jokic won't win MVP. The league wants Wemby to be the MVP. The league doesn't want to give Jokic the MVP award again. That's why I don't think he'll win it. So I think Wemby, because again, Henry, if they get to 50 wins, it's going to be because of Wemby. The Spurs are not a good basketball team without Wemby. I'm sorry. I don't believe in any of the advanced metric stuff. They are not a good basketball team without Wemby. They are only good because of Wemby, which only helps his case. A guy like Jason Tatum, if he doesn't play, the Celtics can still beat almost every team in the league, in my opinion. Hurts his MVP case. Without Wemby, the Spurs might be the worst team in basketball. Helps his math. Number 4, this year, the 10 seed in the East will be 15 games or worse under 500. So last year, the Hawks got in, obviously, to the play-in as the 10 seed. 10 games under 500. I expect that number to be even worse this year because the West is so good. The East is so bad. Some of these East teams that are underperforming, I think, will turn it on. There'll be a team playing in the play-in that is 15 games or worse under 500.
Wow. What a prediction. Holy cow. That's bad. But it makes some sense. It makes some sense, I will say. My number 4 bold prediction for 2025, and this is for your team, the Celtics. Drew Holiday starts getting benched for Peyton Pritchard. I think Peyton Pritchard might just be a better basketball player than Drew Holiday is. The reason why Drew was so valuable last year is, yes, he's still a very good defender, but he was also knocking down like 48% of his corner threes. And obviously that's a huge part of the Boston Celtics offense. I don't think that Drew Holiday is going to keep that up, and he hasn't this year. He has not shot the ball particularly well from 3. And Peyton Pritchard is playing like a bona fide, like actually very good NBA lead guard. We've seen it in a few games so far. I made a video about it, and a bunch of people were in my comments saying, they're just saving Drew Holiday for the playoffs, right? No, I just think Peyton Pritchard might just be better than him. And I think in certain matchups, the offensive firepower, the ball in his hand juice that Peyton Pritchard gives you that Drew Holiday, frankly, at this point in his career just doesn't. I think there are going to be a lot of playoff games where the Celtics close with Pritchard over Drew.
I'm sorry. I completely agree with the commenters on that one. Here's the deal. Drew Holiday kind of struggled for the Celtics during the regular season last year. It was a very up and down run for him. He shot
injury. He shot the ball
corner
really
threes.
Well.
Ignore the corner threes.
That's a huge part of his game.
He was without a doubt the 3rd best player on that team the entire playoff run. He was
in the
great
playoffs. He was extraordinary. Yes.
And I just think he can recapture that again. I think in the regular season, yeah, you might see Pritchard close more over Holiday. But I agree with the commenters. I am with you, commenters. They're going to save him. They're going to save him. They have to. He's an older player. They have to manage him. Just like we're going to manage LeBron. You have to manage Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday is like 6 years younger than LeBron.
He plays guard. It's different. It's different game. Different style of defense.
Okay.
last prediction for me here. The Dallas Mavericks are going back to the NBA Finals. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're getting hot. They're going to make, again, you said this earlier, played right into my hand. They've made good moves. Last year, they made good moves. I think this year they'll make good moves towards the trade deadline to elevate their basketball team. Not big moves, but pieces that help them to get back to the NBA Finals. Luka, big-time player. Kyrie, big-time player. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who everyone is picking, their run feels too easy to me. Too easy to me. And seeing what happened to them in the NBA Cup, I'm just going to say it spooked me a little bit. A little spooked. They are a young basketball team, let's not forget. They are a young team. We've seen young teams in the league struggle to take that next step. Not saying they're not a great basketball team. They are. But there's something about come playoff time, come big games. How do you play? I just really like what I'm seeing out of Dallas. I do. And I think Luka's the fucking boogeyman. He just is. Like SGA and Chet, like they're fun, they're cool, they do the commercials, they do the fun interviews after. Like they're great basketball players, seem like pretty good dudes as well. Not inviting any of the Shea people into our show about how good of a dude he might be. Luka's a killer. Luka's a killer. And if he had to, he would kill those guys. He would take their lunch. He would. I just think Dallas is going to outlast OKC and go back to the NBA Finals.
My number 5 bold prediction, we get an NBA Finals rematch.
Yeah! Listen,
We're on
I
the
don't
same
talk
page.
I don't talk about my Celtics in that way. I just let it play out. But yeah, Dallas is getting back. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you said. Luka started off really rough, but he's rounding into form right now. He could very well find himself as the MVP at the end of the year. As you had mentioned, like all of their acquisitions have worked.
Yep.
Like, and a key thing to me is Chris Vernon does the Memphis Grizzlies stuff. He has always said, how many guys do you play that suck? And they don't really play anyone who sucks.
No, they don't.
Kyrie, Luka, I was going to say Tim Hardaway Jr., but he's not the team anymore. Zeke Naji, Najee Marshall,
Yeah.
Clay, Gafford, Quentin Grimes, Derek Lively. Like everyone on their team is good. They don't play guys who suck.
Nope.
The Marshall edition has worked. The Clay edition has worked. This is a really good basketball team. And I think I essentially agree with every single point that you made. Luka is a killer. And if it gets to a playoff series, not to say I too was spooked by the NBA Cup, but I think I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I confidently trust Luka over SGA in a winner-go-home playoff game. I do. And until Shea, if Shea does it in the Western Conference Finals or something and proves it to me, then I'm happy to be wrong.
Yeah, we'll
happy to be
the take,
wrong.
But
right now, I'm going to roll with Luka.
Yep.
And I'm going to roll with the Dallas Mavericks, meaning the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals for a rematch.
look at us agreeing in the new year. I love it.
I know. We have so many agreements on this.
We're pretty in sync, you and I. I mean, we've been doing this show almost 200 episodes. We're pretty in sync, you and I.